In this episode of Rich in Relationship, the things you're really sacrificing for business success. Picture this, you're in a beautiful restaurant, maybe it's French cuisine, Italian, doesn't really matter. It costs a little money, all right? White tablecloths, you need to dress nice. The two of you are there. Finally, because the business is doing well, and the kids are doing well, you can have that date night you've been talking about. A few minutes into it, waiter pours the wine, you put in your orders, salads are gonna get ready to hit the table, and one of you says, you wouldn't believe what an incredible day at work I had. Would you mind if I just talked about it for a few minutes? An hour goes by, and you're still talking business. Both of you, not just one of you, you're both talking about work. What happened to date night? And has this ever happened to you? I know that it has. You see, most of us are carrying so much stress, but it isn't just stress. Most of us are so focused on success that it bleeds into everything we do. We like to think that the business stress stays with the business, right? We close the door on work and we move on to our family. We like to think that financial stress ends when we log off the bank account. We like to think that the kids, once we have everything straightened out, that's been closed off. We all like to believe that we compartmentalize really well, and we might. It might be that when we go one place, that stress doesn't seem to be with us, but it actually always is, because stress does not work that way. Stress, unresolved stress that hasn't been fully met, is always with us, unconsciously churning, right? And that's why when you finally get to that good restaurant, when you finally have that moment that you've been working so hard for, you're still talking about work or other things that are sort of churning inside of you. And just get it, the stress isn't always about the bad things. Sometimes stress is about, this is so good and what's next? Now, I see this with couples all the time, both couples who are not working together, but especially couples who are working together, where they've been spinning so many plates, juggling so many balls, that they feel like roommates. All right, they come to me and they say, we only talk about getting things done. We've lost our spark. We don't have intimate moments like we used to. We aren't laughing like we used to. And it's so common, it's almost tragic, except that I think maybe this is just part of relationships, right? We start out with a dream together, all on the same page, and then we get really busy with life. And because we're busy developing individually, because we're individually trying to take care of the things that concern both of us, there's a tendency to get a little parallel. And what I've learned is the relationship isn't the source. It isn't the problem. And that's what we like to think. We like to think something's wrong with this relationship, but actually what's happening is the relationship is where the symptom is showing up. It's kind of like, I've had allergies for the last 10 days now. I've been a mucus factory. Today I'm pretty good, but it's been raining. Thus I am here. But the symptoms of that have been itchy eyes, a lot of discharge, feeling kind of fuzzy-headed. And it's easy for me to say, man, this body is the problem. But the problem isn't the body. The problem is there's all this stuff in the air that I haven't learned how to process properly. And relationships go through exactly the same thing. There's all this stuff in the air that you just haven't figured out how to process. Now, the good news about relationships and processing is a lot of this is emotional and can be learned, whereas your body may not. My body may never learn how to manage pollen, though honestly, the studies show that even that is a learning experience. Your body adjusts to pollen and pollen levels over time. Now, the difference between the body and the relationship is the relationship will only do that so much without thinking about it, while most of what happens in the body is unconscious. The pollen in the relationship are external stressors, right? External stressors either build up our resilience or they tear us down. And what's happening in a relationship when it gets to a certain point is it starts tearing the relationship down. Money, Are we paying all the bills? What's not unusual is people start making more money. Guess what they do? They start spending more money. So the money pressure never goes away. That money pressure drives them forward to make more. But because they're spending more, they still driving forward. And what comes with that is fatigue. Fatigue with never getting there. Decision fatigue, because the decisions get bigger and bigger. Parenting fatigue, because guess what? Every time you get those little beautiful children, I had another word for it, those little effers, was every time you get them settled down, what happens? They develop into a new stage and they have a new set of needs. Yes, imagine that. All these stressors, work, kids, home, social, the marriage itself, they're all looking for some place to land. And the relationship becomes the emotional dumping ground, because we don't want to say the problem is just stress. We want to say, if our relationship were up to this, we'd still be in love. We'd still be walking on sunshine. I had a couple come in successful, really successful. I mean, billionaire, almost billionaire level successful. They waffled. Growing business. Marriage was actually very good after recovering from some real challenges. There was no emotional abuse, physical abuse, no lack of love, really. They were growing, they were on track. They had landed on solid ground. They were so focused on continuing to grow, on staying on solid ground, that because the landscape was always changing, they thought there must be something wrong with us. But the truth was that their business, and they were working together, these two folks, that isn't always the case. The business was consuming all their emotional energy, and there was nothing left for each other. What do I mean by that? The prefrontal cortex is the part of our brain, the director, let's call it. We all have a director, and the director tells us what to focus on. The amygdala is the diva. It wants to come out and sing. It wants us to run away, play dead. It wants us to fight. It wants drama. What keeps us out of drama is emotional energy, right? We stay in the thinking part of our brain, the cerebral cortex. Our prefrontal cortex sees drama and says, no, I'm going to stay thinking. But every time it does that, it uses some emotional energy. And so when business and managing the kids, let's be honest, and managing the house consume so much of our emotional energy, there's nothing left. The prefrontal cortex runs out of juice, and you get home and there's your partner, and you're feeling needy, and you feel like you haven't been close in a while, and all of a sudden the prefrontal cortex says, I surrender. And who comes marching out? The diva. And the diva says, you always, why? It's all your fault, blah, 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 blah. And I have seen this over and over. Different couples, different cultures, living together, married together, working separately, different personalities, different horoscope signs, if that matters to you, different religions, different industries, same pattern. The relationship is always what pays the bill. Why do you think the divorce rate is so high? It's a combination of an unreasonable expectation about marriage and the incredible stressors that we're all experiencing and take on. And I gotta tell you, I know a little something about this myself. In 2017, I had a business that was hitting a wall. We just couldn't seem to break through. And I was hitting a wall with it, if I'm honest. I mean, I was having trouble showing up for my kids. And let me tell you how this plays out. Typically, ladies sacrifice their relationship time with their husband for work, and but they don't give up the kids very often. Husbands, on the other hand, are a little less mature about it. They sacrifice the kids and expect their wife to be there for them, right? So let's say you have two partners, and in this case, Catherine and I, we were both very engaged in our work, very mission-driven. I was kind of up against it in my work. She was actually doing very well, which was bringing out my competitive side. And she was focusing on the kids, and I was trying to focus on our marriage. And that doesn't work, right? If one person's focused on the kids and the other one's focused on the marriage, the one who's focused on the marriage is like, hey, where are you? I need you. Why aren't you here for me? And that's right where I was. And she was like, hey, we can't do this right now. We need to focus on the kids. And I was pissed at the kids, and I had this aha moment, right? Because my oldest son at that point wasn't speaking to any of us, right? He had totally cut himself off from the family, or pretty much cut himself off from the family. And our kids were going through some stuff, and I was having trouble being present for them. Catherine's buried in her business and doing her best to keep the family going. I'm just trying to survive, buried in mine. And I realized, you know what, this business, it's not serving my family anymore. I realized, I had this aha moment. I didn't go into business for me. Oh yeah, there were aspects of it that I really enjoyed and that were important to me. There was a mission that business had that was important to me, but the business itself was sucking the life out of me and my relationship with my family and my relationship with my wife. And I knew that I couldn't win my wife's attention back from the track she was on without changing something on my end. And so I sold that business. I sold that business so that I could give her that attention and that focus. So I could basically court her and win her heart back. And the first thing that we did was we reinstituted morning coffee. Now I would do my spiritual readings and she would work, and that's still something that we wrestle with. I'm just like, hey, can't that wait? But we have that time together. We started having date night, right? I would be telling all these people, you need to have date night. We weren't having date night, so we started having date night. We started having weekly talks about logistics and finances. We started having regular physical intimacy again, which, if I'm really honest, was something I had withdrawn from for a while because I felt so neglected. It was kind of childish of me. And even though she was very focused on the kids, she knew that that was a red flag in a relationship. And so we started putting all that back together. And in the beginning, it was kind of a challenge. She actually had to work harder because I didn't have the income that I had. But over time, our marriage leveled out. And I would love to tell you that we won my son back, but he's still in his own orbit. He's still living his own life. And sort of the best we can do for him is send him good wishes and hope that he and his beautiful wife and his lovely daughter are happy. And hope that one day maybe he'll find it in his heart to forgive us, particularly me, for being so focused on not him is probably the best way to put it. And I have worked rigorously at winning my other children's hearts back. I think for a long time they felt that I was not to be trusted. And I think they've come around over time. And today, obviously, I do work that I'm very passionate about, but I make sure that there's room for family. I make sure there's room for my relationship. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. If you're hearing this and it's resonating with you, just get the relationship is not the problem. The problem is, where is our focus? Now, you don't have to sell your business like I did. I was also in a spot with my business where it wasn't ringing my bell anymore. And that's a whole nother story. Where you are and where I was are very similar, though. The relationship is not a problem. The relationship is withering from lack of attention. And so what we changed, that I'm encouraging others to change, is the system of our lives. And the heart of that system is prioritization. The number one prioritization for both of us has become, are we physically, emotionally, and spiritually fit as individuals? The number two concern is, are we physically, emotionally, and spiritually fit as a couple? And the third thing is not work. It's, are we invested spiritually, emotionally, and physically in our family? And then comes work. And do we do that perfectly? No. Sometimes work still slips in the way. Old habits are hard to change, but it's about changing focus. We help couples to redesign the architecture of their life, to separate the family vision from the business vision, to clarify, to separate their individual visions from the family vision too. There's the individual vision, the family vision, and their business vision, which sometimes is shared and sometimes is separate. We clarify who is responsible for what, What roles do each person feel? What boundaries need to be maintained? And how do we ensure that what's really important stays on top? Because really, the goal isn't working less. The goal is really being emotionally present for every aspect of our life. You can still work just as much and be 100% present for yourself, 100% present for your partner, 100% present for your family. It's about your systems for managing these things that ensure whether that happens or not. Businesses create pressure. That's normal, right? Survival is linked to eating, and eating is linked to money, and money is linked to what? Business. So there's going to be pressure. But the question is, how do we manage that pressure? Where is that pressure being paid? Because if you're not intentional about it, then the place where you're going to pay it is either with your kids or with your relationship or both. The hard truth is that when you're in business, especially when you're in business together, there is a price that is paid. And the question is, how are you going to pay that price? Are you going to pay it by sacrificing other things that are important to you? Or are you going to pay it by being really and truly intentional? So here's my question. What is your business costing you? Not financially, relationally, emotionally, and even spiritually. And I want you to think of spiritually as your relationship to the greater good. Is that even on your radar? Because if it isn't, you're neglecting a part of yourself. We all have a part of ourselves that needs to contribute to the greater good. It's survival driven. There's a whole episode in that. Businesses can always make more money, and they can certainly become incredible time sucks. But they cannot give you back the people that you are building them for. Hey, if you like what you're hearing here, I want you to subscribe and share. And in the meantime, I'll have an amazing day and a fantastic tomorrow.